Alright folks, well I'm back with another cocktail from Sasha Petraske, and this one's pretty interesting. So I'm gonna make a haze fizz. Now this is basically just a Tom Collins rinsed with absinthe. Nowadays we don't really think of absinthe as being that special, but back when milk and honey really got going, it was still illegal to import it commercially into the United States. So for Sasha to feature a drink that had absinthe in it has a pretty cool story behind it. One of the defining things about Sasha's character is his absolute just meticulous care for not only the bar and the bar program, but for his customers, because ultimately everything that the bar was doing was for those customers. And a lot of the regulars came to realize how special that was. And so some of them would go on personal trips or business trips to Europe and bring back absinthe as a gift for Sasha and milk and honey. In return, Sasha would save these bottles behind the bar so that when one of those special customers came in and asked for a drink with absinthe, he would have it ready to go just for them. So, you know, in today's current cocktail landscape, it's not necessarily that unique, but it's really, really cool to see the history and the sort of family that was milk and honey recorded in what I hope is going to be a pretty tasty drink as well, because this will be the first time I've tried it. So, as I mentioned, this recipe comes to us from Regarding Cocktails by Sasha Petraske. To build the drink, start with a cocktail shaker and combine 3/4 of an ounce of simple syrup, 3/4 of an ounce of fresh lemon juice, and 2 ounces of gin. Then add a large cube of ice to your shaker. Allow the ice to temper for a few moments. And shake until it's thoroughly chilled. Now for the absinthe. Using an eyedropper, coat the inside of the glass with absinthe by rubbing it down the sides. This method produces no waste, and it allows you to add your ice first. Alternatively, add about 1/4 ounce to a Collins glass, tip and roll the glass on its side to completely coat the inside of the glass, and then dump the excess absinthe. You can see here that I prefer the first method. Once rinsed, strain your cocktail into the glass. Top with soda water, and garnish with an orange slice. Better one than that. There we go. And a cocktail cherry. Add a straw. And that is the Haze Fizz. Alright, well, best part of the video, time to give this thing a taste and see how it is. Now, I should mention, I do think I've actually had this before. I think I made this like a year ago, and I really liked it because now I'm remembering, I think I made one for my dad. But I know that I didn't do the proper orange and cocktail cherry garnish, because I think I would have remembered that. But I don't know. Let me give it a taste and let's see if I do remember it. So, cheers. Yeah, I think I've had this before, but let's talk about what it tastes like. So you get the lemon, and then you get the juniper, and then right after that you get the licorice and a little bit of orange, and about 5 seconds after you swallow, the orange fades and the lemon kind of comes back and the licorice stays with it the whole way through, and then the lemon kind of dies away and it's just licorice at the end. So this cocktail is going to be wildly variable depending upon the gin and absinthe that you use and exactly how much absinthe. So let's pull these out here for a second. The Bombay London Dry Gin, which we just killed the bottle, is a really mild gin. It's got a lot less juniper and just flavor in general if you compare it to something like Beefeater or Tanqueray or definitely Bombay Sapphire. This is about half the flavor in my mind that something like Bombay Sapphire has. So if you used a stronger gin, you would get a lot more botanical and juniper notes and a lot longer flavor from that throughout the tasting process of the cocktail. This Mephisto, or however you say it, absinthe is pretty nice. I do like it. I like it neat, but it's really predominantly just licorice flavor, which is not necessarily a bad thing. It's just different different from other absinthe. So when I had made this in the past, I had used an absinthe from Pemberton Distilling up in British Columbia, which is made from a potato vodka spirit and uses some really interesting, specific Pacific Northwest botanicals along with your typical absinthe flavoring ingredients. And I don't remember what gin I'd used with it at the time, but I think it was Beefeater. It's a totally different cocktail when you do it that way. And it's not necessarily better or worse one way or the other. If you prefer it to be more licorice absinthe forward, you can customize it to make it taste that way. If you wanted to use something like, come on, what is it? Pernod makes something, it's not absinthe, but it's a lower proof. That's kind of an anise spirit. I'll put the text here of what the heck I'm thinking of. But you could use something like that and like a rose gin and make something just totally wild, you know? You could use something like Plymouth and then only one dropper of absinthe. You know, there's a ton of different ways that you can customize this to your flavor preferences. Overall, for me, I think I would prefer a little bit stronger gin, but I like the absinthe that I'm using. It's just a nice, refreshing, interesting cocktail, you know? I definitely would drink this if I was in the mood for absinthe, but wanted something a little bit fresher and carbonated. Personally, I really like absinthe, and I tend to follow the old school kind of French mentality, which is that it's a working man's drink. So hot summer evening after a long day's work, a big ice cold glass of absinthe and water is really refreshing. And this kind of hits that, but a little bit brighter, fruitier, obviously. If you liked the video, hit the button. If you don't like the video, please hit the other button. And either way, let me know what you think in the comments. Thank you so much for watching. My name is Luke. I hope to see you in the next video. Cheers.